with Tom Luganville, Sam Acho, and Pete Thamel. Pete's always working. I got you, Pete. We're ready to go. I'm zooming the Henty. You're off the top here. Looks like you're working, ready to go. You got some quarterback news for us. What do you have?
Yeah, well, Thursday night, Zubin, Missouri opens with Central Arkansas, and there's some clarity today, according to a source, about the quarterback derby at Missouri. Bo Pribula will start that game for Missouri and play the first half. Sam Horn, the redshirt junior, will play the second half. Again, who starts and who doesn't here maybe isn't as important, Zubin, as the fact that each are going to get their own half as auditions. Obviously, looming the following week, September 6th, they play a very good Kansas team that we all watched in week 0 run Fresno State out of the building. So we'll see Pribula in the first half, Horn in the second, and whoever wins that derby will be named the starter for the Kansas game.
Got to be ready for that big border war football edition coming up in week number 2. So, Pete, thank you for that. As I mentioned, the last time Clemson played LSU, you might remember this one. This was, as you know, both head coaches sizing up the other team's quarterback.
Man, I got a ton of respect for this kid. He's a guy that has stayed and he's developed, and now he's on his way to being a high draft pick. But he's got a lot of poise. He's got great instincts, really good pocket awareness. He's got big time arm talent. He's tough, and they've put a good group together up front.
I think everybody talks about their defensive players in particular, but offensively. Cade Klubnik is, I think, a quarterback that played his best ball at the end of the year. 3 seasons as a starting quarterback, we've made a lot of that in terms of how important it is to come back for a second year. He's coming back for his 3rd year, which I think says a lot about him.
I mean, it's game week, so it's never too early to get into the nitty-gritty and the nuance, because you think this is really a game within a game at the game Saturday night. Tell us what you mean.
Well, I do, and I look at how these two rosters have been constructed, right? Clemson, reinvest in your own team, high school football development, retention, and then not have a revolving door. But if you look at LSU, who's trying to reinvigorate this defense, they went out and they created some wholesale changes, most notably on the back end. You bring in A.J. Halsey from Houston, Jamarcus Cooley from NC State, and then you bring in the true freshman in D.J. Pickett, who may start at one of the corner spots. And 5 of your top 7 starters in the front 7 for Blake Baker, the second-year DC, are back. So that not inexperienced, but secondary that hasn't played together, hasn't been around each other a bunch, needs that front for LSU to really come on and play well, because Clemson's returning a roster that is intimately aware of who they are, because they are the foundation of the program, and they haven't had that revolving door in terms of a roster.
And it's not just the intimate awareness of who they are, but it's the growth specifically of Cade Klubnik and his receivers. I think about Bryant Westcott Jr., who was a freshman last year, and TJ Moore, who was another freshman last year. They were weapons as freshmen. Now all of a sudden they've matured, they've grown with the same quarterback, with consistency in quarterback, consistency in play calling. Even the offensive line coach, Matt Luke, is returning as well. That means that quarterback Cade Klubnik will have more time to pass the ball downfield. You saw some of the ranks that LSU was defensively last season. I think that this Clemson offense is going to try to expose and exploit LSU defensively, not necessarily in the run game, but I think attacking downfield with those young, talented wide receivers.
Well, Sam, one thing we've seen is that both of these Tigers have struggled on opening day. Both Clemson and LSU enter this game with a run of bad ball on opening night. And I think one of the interesting reverberations from this game will be the losing Tiger, as they'll still be a strong contender for the CFP. We obviously have new strength of schedule metrics, something called record strength, that the CFP is going to be looking at. Look, college football wants to incentivize teams to play opening games like this, interconference, not just save the best games for league play. So it will be interesting to see the tenor of the loss and then how that team is perceived moving forward in the CFP race.
Yeah, what I'm most excited about, though, specifically is on the Clemson side. Clemson's continuing what they did last season. What do I mean by that? There aren't a bunch of transfers that are entering that team. This is the same Clemson team that week 1 last year lost to Georgia in a pretty embarrassing fashion, at least in the second half. I got a chance to call Clemson last regular season game last year versus South Carolina and talk with Dabo Swinney, and he talked about how that loss in Georgia versus Georgia really helped get that team battle tested. And that same team from last season that's battle tested has 16 returning starters who experienced that loss and the growth all the way to really the college football playoff. So I think they learned from last year, and that same fortitude that was built will carry Clemson early this season as well.
Okay, so once again, that game Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern on your local ABC station. Sunday night at 7:30 in front of a standalone national audience, we'll have Carson Beck, new place, new face, taking on Notre Dame. And this is such an interesting story because, of course, the last time most of us saw Carson Beck, he was grabbing his arm. The last thing you want when you're a quarterback. That was the last searing image of the SEC title game. But, Pete, he's got a brand new start here in Coral Gables. A lot of people are curious on how he's looking and what Miami's identity might be here in the season opener. What's the intel you have?
Well, Zubin, talked to a few people, and there's a quiet confidence on the Miami staff about how Carson Beck has performed so far in camp. I was told in the last scrimmage he completed more than 80% of his passes. There's a mastery of the offense that has come in a short period of time. Remember, because of that arm injury, he wasn't able to take part in spring ball actively. But because Miami has such a good offensive line, there's expected to be a pretty good easing in of Carson Beck. And look, they're expecting him to play consistently. He's not going to have some of the same dynamism as Cam Ward, but Shannon Dawson's offense at Miami is very quarterback friendly, and Beck clearly has the arm talent to spray the ball around to Miami's weapons. So far, heading into this Notre Dame game, they like what they have in Coral Gables.
On the other side, Sam, you go from Shannon Dawson's offense at Miami to Notre Dame's stellar defense, and that's really going to be the key to see if Beck can make this thing work.
Correct. There's no easing in when it comes to week 1 against Marcus Freeman and that Notre Dame defense. Why do I say that? They were one of the most talented defenses in all of college football last season, specifically when it came to intercepting the ball and returning interceptions for touchdowns. Yes, you're going to see sacks. You're going to see forced fumbles. But really, it was the takeaways that separated Notre Dame last year. Can they do it in the same fashion this year? Guys like Jack Kaiser, you saw on your screen, he's now in the NFL. But some of the other young stars are still on that roster. So, yes, Carson Beck has a high likelihood and aptitude for success, but it's going to be a huge challenge, specifically the game within the game, that defense of Notre Dame.
Well, when you look at this from a quarterback perspective, obviously Miami and Carson Beck have some advantages. You're going into this opener with a brand new quarterback right out of the box in C.J. Carr, and you can't allow C.J. Carr to outperform Carson Beck. That veteran leadership, that sample size of production over the last 2 years at Georgia has to be the determining factor for why Miami wins this game. C.J. Carr won this job at Notre Dame because he's been more consistent throughout camp. But I also believe that he won the job because he provides them the best opportunity to push the ball downfield vertically. This was a team a year ago that was 114th in FBS in plays of 20 yards or more through the air. So no explosive plays coming from this Notre Dame offense a year ago. They could run the football. You knew what they were all about at quarterback under Riley Leonard. But C.J. Carr's got to come out and make plays. But there's no way, if you're Miami, you can allow C.J. Carr to up Carson Beck when Carson Beck comes into this matchup with a wealth of experience. That should be the edge for Miami.
If that happens, I can tell you the first thing we're going to be talking about on Monday on College Football. That's for sure. Notre Dame goes from all the experience at quarterback the last 2 years with Riley Leonard and Hartman to Carr. So that'll be interesting. Now let's take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by Verbo. And I said at the top of the program that this is a college football opening weekend unlike any other because you see there at the bottom of your screen, it's the first opening season weekend with 3 top 10 matchups. Doesn't get any better than that. Unless you're a Hawaii fan, it does get better. It's time for our rewarding performance brought to you by Capital One. You probably saw this everywhere. Kansei Matsuzawa, 25 years old, came to the country at the age of 21 from Japan, did not speak a lick of English, learned how to kick on YouTube, and it all came in handy when he knocked through that 38-yard field goal to defeat Stanford. What a win for the Rainbow Warriors, and what a moment Sam, what constitutes success in the opener against FSU?
It's handling adversity, specifically for quarterback Ty Simpson. I got a chance to talk to him on the field before they played Georgia last year. He was a backup, but he still had this level of confidence. Now, all of a sudden, he's the starter, and that confidence needs to continue, even and especially when things don't go his way. Football's a game about overcoming challenges.
No doubt about it. As for Arch Manning, he's looking to flip the script.
I mean, I think that's all of us at Texas, and I think we kind of try to shift the narrative. We're going for everyone else. Target's not on our back. We have the red dot on everyone else.
Tom, what do you make of that little rationale?
I like it. Deflect, deflect, deflect. Listen, for Arch Manning, he knows he's ready for this moment. And they brought him along at a reasonable rate of development to prepare him to the best of his ability so that he is not overwhelmed. I've got 5 words for him. Throw it to your guys. Take care of the football, make good decisions. You don't have to wear a cape. Utilize the personnel around you, and you're going to be just fine.
Here's Ryan Day on a new day for his starter, Julian Sayin.
The message is just win, find a way to win. I think when you start setting expectations, you can get yourself out of whack. We're going to take it one play at a time. He's got a good group of guys around him. He's got a good defense. He's got good special teams, a good offensive line, good skill guys. He needs to lean into those players and find a way to win the game. We'll try to get him into a rhythm and then go from there.
Sam, who specifically does he need to be leaning on?
He needs to be leaning on his defense, in my opinion. I think that Ohio State defensively is going to give them the best opportunity to keep this a game. If they can slow down, Caleb Williams and Sonny Styles can slow down Texas offensively, you won't be having to force the ball downfield and relying on your young quarterback. So rely on that defense. Don't try and do too much and keep it a game.
Finally, Deion has named a starter at Colorado.
Case Salter's going to start. You guys knew that. I don't know why you tried to play like he was going to start. The kid has a ton of experience, dual threat. He can throw the heck out of the ball as well. He's the guy. Some people get baffled because you think this guy's good, but he's playing against your guy that's bad, and then he ends up going against Goliath, and he's not David. So we understand what we have, and we're excited about that. We don't think we lost. We think we gained. Sure, there's a couple athletes that were phenomenal, but I think and I've been saying this for quite some while, we have a better team.
They'll take on Georgia Tech in the opener. What do you make of it, Tom?
I love this move. If you're not convinced that your true freshman Juju Lewis is ready, you go with the guy with a large sample size of playing an awful lot of football. Now, I'd love to see Kaidon Salter get back to the 2023 version of his game as opposed to 2024. But if you're Deion Sanders, you got to pick the guy that gives you the best opportunity to win out of the gate, lead, and that's because of experience.
Yeah, one other big story coming out of Boulder today. Ralphie the Sixth is retiring. He's heading to the ranch. In other animal news, Pudge the cat, the official cat of Bowling Green, short-haired, 3-year-old, exotic. But here's the problem. Take a listen to what the deal is with head coach Eddie George.
Initially, I'm allergic to cats. So I was like, what the hell is a cat doing in the locker room, initially. But Pudge is cute. My wife loves Pudge. I believe it was George who brought Pudge in. And he's become a part of the family. I don't mind. I think it's cool. In fact, I think they have a couple of his T-shirts to sell, and so I'm going to get buy a couple of them so I can wear them around campus. But I think it's cool. Pudge stays out of my way. I stay out of Pudge's way, and we are fine.
Well, he mentioned the shirts, and George, by the way, is the team's long snapper. If you're old enough, guys, this does resemble Garfield a little bit, although we might be aging ourselves. Young people are like, who in the world is Garfield? Tom, dog person, cat person. They always ask this at the NFL Combine, right? Are you a dog person or are you a cat person?
A dog person. Because at least the dog loves you when you care for it. A dog wants to be around you. A cat doesn't want to have anything to do with you, yet you're supporting its entire life. And by the way, what a great way to keep your head coach out of the locker room. Find out he's allergic to cats. Then you put the cat in the locker room. Now you don't got to deal with a scheming coach coming in looking for somebody.
That's a good point.
I just love the Garfield reference because I was trying to place the cat. I was like, that cat looks like somebody. I couldn't play Garfield, just minus some stripes. It needs some stripes. But I think it's very interesting. I'm not really a dog or a cat person. Sorry, people in the world. I'm not an animal guy.
Me too. Fun fact this Saturday. Let's go a little rapid fire. Some interesting topics. Sam, let's start with you. We'll get all the fellas involved. The quarterback you're most excited to see is?
John Mateer from Oklahoma. He transferred from Washington State. Really came over with Ben Arbuckle as offensive coordinator. Last year, Washington State was 12th overall in scoring offense and I think top 10 in passing offense. So I can't wait to watch what he does at quarterback at Oklahoma.
Zubin, I'll take Joey Aguilar, the transfer from UCLA briefly and then App State prior. He led the nation in interceptions last season. We'll see how quick he's up to speed in Josh Heupel's offense.
For me, it's Michigan freshman Bryce Underwood. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch him. You know, he's going to have to do what Arch Manning didn't have to do. Live up to massive expectations, #1 player in the country, and do it right out of the gate. His maturity, his poise will be on display. Let's see how he handles it.
All right, Sam, let's go to you. Transfer, most exciting transfer you have your eyes on.
A man by the name of Isaiah World. He's 6'8", 315, a tackle at Oregon. He was at Nevada last season, didn't give up a sack. I can't wait to watch what he does, this Goliath of a human at Oregon.
I'll take Max Clare, the tight end for Ohio State. With all those great receivers clearing the flat, look for Clare to put up big numbers against Texas.
I'm going with Utah's Devon Dampier, the New Mexico transfer. If you guys watched Jalen Daniels at Kansas this past weekend versus Fresno State, get ready to see a similar style of play from Dampier. He is going to be electrifying with his arm and in his legs. I think he makes Utah a contender in the Big 12.
All right, this is going to be our last one. Sam, you start us out of a loaded week 1, the game you're most excited to watch.
LSU at Clemson, and I want to see who's going to be the real Death Valley Junior. Brian Kelly said that LSU was real Death Valley. I want to see who's the real one.
TCU goes to Chapel Bill. Nobody knows what to expect from the Heels. Can't wait to watch Monday night.
Guys, how do you not pick Texas, Ohio State? Everybody's complaining about the noon kickoff, but you maybe get the most highly anticipated player in I don't know how long in college football, and you get him first. And then you get a new quarterback at Ohio State second. I'm loving this kickoff at noon. It starts the day off right for week 1.
You said it, fellas. We'll see you right back here at 3 Eastern tomorrow for more College Football Live.